This is a demonstration of the Merlin 150 air-cooled recirculating chiller. It has a digital controller, a cooling capacity of 17,000 BTU at 20 degrees. It has a temperature range of between 5 to 35 degrees C. It is equipped with a PD2 pump, which will produce 3.5 gallons per minute at 50 psi. It is powered by 208 volts AC single phase, requiring at least a 15.4 amp service. I'd like to point out a couple of really nice features about this. Whenever we service and refurbish chillers, we always use a calibrated temperature probe here to check the temperature both up and down. As you can see, it is virtually almost perfect. And what's nice about this one is, if you look closely here, they've put this really nice little hole in here that allows you to check the temperature without removing the plug. While we're at it, this is also where you would fill the reservoir. It's got a nice big opening, and so you can put a funnel in there or pour directly into it. Now there's one feature inside. Normally this is a unit that you don't have to open and service very often, but there is something I'd like to show you. Now if I remove the top, you can't really see it, but there is a strainer, a Y strainer that you can clean out. And believe it or not, it's right here. So to show you that, I think this is important, because if your workpiece, for example, has contaminants in it, or your plates or whatever, it will clog up this little strainer here. So I'm going to remove this side really quick. Step back to this side here, and we're going to crouch down a little bit. It's right here. It's very easy to get to. What I normally do is, when of course it is turned off and not running, you can open it with a little pan here so you don't drip water all over. You open this up and you can take out a very fine mesh round screen that you can blow out, rinse out, whatever, and put back in. So that's important that I show you that. Again, normally you wouldn't open up a piece of equipment, but from a service guy's standpoint, this is excellent to work on. You can get to the pump very easily, and from both sides you can get to the refrigeration section very easily. This is one of the simplest controllers that I've seen in a while. It's very simple to change the set point. Simply push it, and it'll blink, and you can go up and you can go down. We're going to show you both the ranges here, so we're going to run this way up to its maximum of 35 degrees C, and then once you have your set point in, simply push the button again. It'll blink and it'll go back to display. Some other nice features about this controller is that if the reservoir should run too low, it will turn off the system and sound an alarm, which signals you to fill up your reservoir. Also, it has a pressure sensor as well, that if for some reason it winds up getting plugged down the line, or in many cases these are in the core of clean rooms that are running out into the actual clean room floor. If some piece of debris should plug it up, instead of just sitting there and cranking, if the needle here got buried, once you go up too high, it will also shut it down, sound an alarm, and show you a signal here that says high pressure as well. So while we're waiting for it to go up in temperature, it is rated for 3.5 gallons, 3.5 gallons at 50 psi. So what we'll do here is I'm going to take this and throttle this down, and that's another thing that we like to do. Normally these analog gauges are pretty accurate, but just to make sure, we always put our own gauge in and our flow meter as well to make sure. I'm going to throttle this down, and as you can see, when I go past 20, starts to drop, 30, 40, and we are at 50. And you look closely at the gauge here, you'll see it's at about 3.6 gallons per minute, which is a very strong pump. So this is really an excellent chiller. One other note regarding its operation is if you also look behind here, you'll see just below the supply output is a screw. Now what this is a bypass valve that allows you to change the output pressure. So if it's turned all the way clockwise, it would allow maximum pressure. Turned counterclockwise, it would allow you to drop the pressure in here. That's for the purpose that if your workpiece that it's connected to is sensitive to higher pressures, you can lower the pressure as well. Also, one more thing, the drain is very convenient too. I really like this machine. There's your drain right there. You don't have to take the covers off to drain the reservoir. It's basically a petcock like you'd see on the bottom of a radiator. You just open that up, or you can hook up a little line to it and you can drain the system from there. So we'll return back around to the front, and we'll come back very shortly and see it at its highest temperature, and then after that we'll run it all the way down to 5 degrees. We're back now. This thing's pretty fast. It's been about, I don't know, maybe 12, I didn't time it, but 12 to 15 minutes that we went from 20C up to 35. 34.9 is close enough. Now we're going to go down to the lowest temperature. Again, we change our set point, and we run this all the way down. There you go. Now, we're going to go down to our low set point. I believe we have a little time, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you how fast this particular chiller can go down in temperature. It's got a very strong refrigeration compressor in it, and we're just going to stay here live and watch it go all the way down. And there we go. That was under 3 minutes. When I tested this yesterday, that was about 2.5 minutes to get all the way down to the lowest. So it's very strong. It moves very quickly. The only other comment is that we load tested it as well. Now, if you look just behind here, you'll see sort of our homemade test rigs. We have a small one and a large one that we put together, and that's about 4.4 kW. So this was tested at about 4,400 watts, and we ran it all afternoon, and it was able to hold 20 degrees C for that entire time. The other thing that was good about this is, even though this has a smaller reservoir, all of these lines here are a large diameter. So once we had all that water hooked up, this was circulating the entire system, and it was able to hold that entire system of 4,400 watts for about 3 hours yesterday afternoon. So very efficient system, very easy to set up, very clean, and this one was a pleasure to work on, it really was. And this completes this demonstration.